So a couple of years ago, I did a video where I ranked every Kiss and Kiss-related album. Someone commented jokingly that I should do a ranking of every Taylor Swift album, which I thought would be a funny April Fool's Day idea, and then proceeded to forget the idea every year since. But I'm finally doing it. My experience with Swift is pretty limited. I first became aware of her when she did an episode of Crossroads with Def Leppard. And I remember thinking she was cool. She handled the Def Leppard songs well, and they fit into her material. Beyond that, I would occasionally hear her big singles just because she's the biggest pop star in the world and kind of unavoidable. But I never listened to any of her albums. I grew up mostly listening to rock and metal, and so Swift just wasn't for me. So for this video, I listened to her 10 albums for the very first time, and I'm going to be ranking them from my least favorite to my favorite. Also, yes, I am aware she's about to drop a new album and that this video will be instantly out of date. It was an April Fool's Day idea. April Fools! I'm going to be listening to the most popular musical artist in the world. To clarify some stuff, if a Taylor's version was available, that is the version I listened to. If you don't know what that means, I'll explain a bit later. Additionally, Swift's albums will often include bonus tracks, deluxe editions. The Taylor's versions have previously unreleased material. For the sake of simplicity, I just listen to all the core album tracks. No vault tracks or 3 AM editions or anything like that. Just the standard album track listings. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe, share the video, all that fun YouTube algorithm stuff I'm legally required to say. Number 10, Reputation. So, unfortunately, rapper Kanye West wormed his way into being a key figure in Swift's career. At the 2009 VMAs, Swift won Best Female Video for You Belong With Me. While she was giving her acceptance speech, West stormed the stage to yell how Beyoncé had made one of the best music videos of all time.
Let you finish, but Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time.
It was awkward and from the outside, seemed humiliating for Swift. This feud continued in 2016 when West released Famous, a song which explicitly name-drops Swift and calls her a bitch. A naked mannequin of Swift was also featured in the music video. It might surprise you to learn that Swift somehow became the bad guy of this story. West faced a lot of backlash initially, including from Swift, but then West's then-wife Kim Kardashian came to his defense. She released a video of Swift seemingly approving Famous's lyrics. Swift was promptly cancelled, with many taking to social media to call her a snake and a liar, including Kardashian. The full video would be released later that vindicated Swift's side of the story, that she was totally unaware of being called a bitch and had not approved the lyrics at all. But at the time, the damage was done and it cut Swift deep. Why did I feel the need to tell you all this? Because having this information is the only way to make heads or tails of Swift's 2017 album, Reputation. In response to all this controversy, she decided to lean in and embrace it. And I get why she did this. The preceding album featured Blank Space, which was a song in which Swift wrote from the point of view of a tabloid-inspired caricature of herself. It was brilliant and a massive hit. It makes sense why she would try to do that again, but as an album. I hated this album. I got halfway through and was just exhausted. Some of that is the production. The album features a lot of influence from hip-hop, trap, and EDM. That stuff just isn't really my thing, but I also think it just doesn't fit Swift at all. It doesn't sound like her. Swift has a lot more range than people give her credit for, but I feel like she lost a lot of what I came to like about her. Some stuff sounds like Black Eyed Peas. One song sounds like Hosier. It's awkward and, to me, unpleasant. That Hosier-esque song, Don't Blame Me, is the closest I came to liking a song on Reputation. I actively disliked everything else, especially Look What You Made Me Do, which is strange because I love Blank Space. So what's different? I think Blank Space's lyrics are a little sharper and specific. That's one of Swift's big strengths. She's a great storyteller, and songs like Look What You Made Me Do feel a lot more vague and generic lyrically. The album did very well, and Swift got a huge stadium tour out of it, so maybe I'm alone in this. I have a friend whose favorite Swift album is Reputation, but this didn't work for me at all. Number 9, Midnights. Less crazy backstory on this one. Midnights is Swift's latest album, as of recording, released in 2022. It led directly to the unbelievably massive Eras tour because Swift only gets more popular and more successful as time goes on. Midnights is a concept album about sleepless nights. It's got a melancholy vibe in line with the sad folk album Swift did in 2020, but it leans back into a more pop production. I think Anti-Hero is fully brilliant, but other than that, I personally found the album kind of boring. It just didn't really connect with me at all. Number 8, 1989. Released in 2014, 1989 is a shift in two major ways. Most importantly, she fully embraced being a pop star. She had been moving towards that a little bit already, but this album makes it official. She was no longer a country singer, she was the pop star. It's also the mark of Swift singing about Taylor Swift, the celebrity. The album features songs about her haters, her feud with fellow pop star Katy Perry, and the tabloid image of her being a serial dater. As much as I love Blank Space, this is not a side of Swift's writing that I love, and it's something she doubled down on for Reputation, which was not fun for me. I just cannot bring myself to care, especially songs like Shake It Off, which is about the haters and the tabloids, and Swift insisting it doesn't bother her, even though she wrote a whole song about it. This specific song is also hurt by overexposure. I used to work at Walgreens, and there was a period where this song would play 2 to 3 times a day. Mild dislike turned into strong hatred pretty quick. Even when artists I love sing about online trolls or whatever, it's a turnoff. Maybe it's because I can't relate in any way. I don't know, but it always makes me kind of roll my eyes a little. However, as I've mentioned a couple times, I adore Blank Space, an actual masterpiece. And the Taylor's version production is spot on. Swift has been re-recording her first 6 albums so that she can own the masters. And this new Blank Space version really highlights Swift's voice, in my opinion. While it is a song about an exaggerated man-eating villain version of Swift, there still manages to be a level of introspection. The emotions there do feel real. It's just a fascinating character study. Circling back to the album style, it specifically was very influenced by 80s pop. That's very apparent on songs like Welcome to New York and Style. So that was kind of fun for me. The pop aesthetic really just isn't my thing. That's not what I like to listen to. Number 7, Lover. 1989, Reputation, and Lover form a sort of pop trilogy for Swift, with Reputation being the darker middle chapter. Lover sonically is closer to 1989, but the 3 records work as a cohesive unit of albums. Swift came at Lover from a much healthier and less angry place than Reputation. She had left her original record company and also felt comfortable voicing political opinions for the first time. Lover showcases a more multifaceted and human Taylor Swift than previous albums. False God is a more sensual song than I was used to with Swift. You Need to Calm Down features direct support for LGBTQ people, and The Man is about gender discrimination. That song in particular really worked for me. There's some bite to that one. I like this side of Swift. Songs like the title track and Death by a Thousand Cuts are the kind of songs I missed on Reputation. Like 1989, this pop sound just isn't my thing, so it's a little hard for me to get into. And You Need to Calm Down is a very strange song. Like I've said, I just don't care about Swift singing about people being mean to her on Twitter. Maybe that's insensitive. The thing about this song that really doesn't work is that the first and third verses are about online trolls, but sandwiched in between is a verse about bigotry against gay people, which I'm sure meant the world to Swift's gay fans, but that juxtaposition is bizarre. Number 6, Taylor Swift. Swift's debut album. Obviously the first one I listened to, and despite my years-long cynicism about Swift, I almost immediately understood the appeal when I listened to this album. Like I said earlier, the lyrics are specific and personal. Her songs tell stories, and it's easy to get invested. And her initial country pop style is very pretty. And it's not as far away from my wheelhouse and taste as I thought. Picture to Burn could easily be tweaked into a rock song, and it's so good. and Teardrops on My Guitar is basically an 80s power ballad. The album features strong hook after strong hook and is anchored by an emotionally vital voice. Not everything works for me, which is fine, but it's a good album. Number 5, Red. Released in 2012, this was Swift's 4th album. With this one, Swift really wanted to expand her sound, and it actually really works for me. She was trying stuff and expanding, but it still feels like her. There's some more rock influence, which was right up my alley with songs like State of Grace. And All Too Well is just incredible. What doesn't work for me on this one is the more pop stuff. The big singles, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, I Knew You Were Trouble, and 22, I don't like at all. With Swift's albums, I found myself often not really liking the singles, but really digging the album tracks. Number 4, Speak Now. Released in 2010, this was Swift's 3rd album. The first half didn't really play for me. I thought it was kind of boring, but the second half is really rad. Dear John is amazing, and I love Haunted. The latter is almost epic. I'd love to see more of this kind of song from Swift. Long Live is also another major highlight. Number 3, Fearless. Released in 2008, this was Swift's 2nd album. Like Shake It Off, I have heard Love Story too many times. It also played entirely too often at Walgreens, and I am traumatized. I do get it, though. The ballads really work, Swift's emotive voice shines and really connects with me. Songs like White Horse and Breathe are just incredible. Don't really like You Belong With Me, though. Number 2, Evermore. In 2020, Swift released Folklore to massive success and acclaim. The positive response to that album inspired Swift to explore that sound further, with this album being released by the end of 2020. So I actually didn't take notes while listening to this. I vibed with it so much that I just enjoyed it and forgot this was for a video. I think it's an absolute masterpiece. Every song is great. Wonderful storytelling. I just love it. Number 1, Folklore. In 2020, the world faced a horrible tragedy and challenge to the way we lived our lives. I'm, of course, talking about the fact that society allowed the film Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn to underperform at the box office. It's a great movie. Stylish, character-driven, great action. Swift was so distraught by the film's poor performance that she canceled the Lover tour and went into isolation. Yeah, of course, I'm actually talking about COVID. Locked inside during the pandemic, Swift watched a lot of movies and read a lot of books, and it sparked her imagination to write less autobiographical songs and focus more on telling stories from different points of view. Feeling free from the pressures of radio and the usual expectations of what a Taylor Swift album should be, Swift dropped Folklore in the summer of 2020. And yeah, it's an absolutely spectacular album. Every song is just incredible. Swift's lyrics are at the top of their game. It's emotionally resonant, compelling, and just a vibe. I adore this album. So that's my ranking. What started as a lame April Fool's Day joke ended with me becoming a casual Swiftie. She's a stellar talent, and I enjoyed this musical ride a lot more than I thought I would. I have no idea what's a hot take in the world of Swifties, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to share your ranking in the comments, and thank you for watching.